There we go. Welcome back, Remodelites, to another episode of Remodel Media. And tonight's episode of Remodel Rundown, episode 6, April 24th, 2020. We're going to go over the top headlines from across the nation. And we're going to go into some details on some details on products that are available and how COVID-19 seems to be affecting everything, including a special update from Kohler that I just found out this afternoon. So without any further ado, let us get into it. So first on the talking point tonight is going to be the COVID-19 freezer shortage. That is right. There is and has been for the last month or so a freezer shortage. So chest freezers, upright freezers, the kind of freezers you would put in your garage and put your Costco foods in there that don't fit in the freezer inside your house. Those have been on back order now for over a month. And I'm not just talking about a single manufacturer. I'm talking GE, Frigidaire, Danby. Every vendor I have called has told me that they are just on perma back order. I've got a list of clients on my desk of people that as soon as it becomes available, I'm going to be making phone calls. Because, people still need freezers. Not just people who are stocking up either, the same kind of people that stock up on the toilet paper, but also people who just, their freezer breaks. So that's probably the top headline for today. I got a rumor yesterday that there was going to be some coming into Southern California. First week of May, but then I got a phone call and an email today saying that may or may not be the case. So I'll keep you posted. Second headline for today is going to be our friends over at BlueStar Range. Now, BlueStar Range is a manufacturer of high-end cookware, commercial grade, and it's owned by a company called Prizer Paint and Stoveworks, and they are based out of Pennsylvania, I believe. And BlueStar Ranges is going to be, there we go, their website is BlueStar Cooking. I'll share my screen with you so you can see this here. Ba-boom. There we go. So, yes, with BlueStar Ranges, where are you? Here we go. Go back to homepage. So BlueStar Ranges, they carry commercial ranges, open burner ranges, sealed burner ranges, range tops, hoods, refrigerators, the whole nine. They are having a price increase May 4th. If you were considering purchasing a BlueStar range, I would suggest doing it now, not waiting, because after May 4th, price is going to go up. They can do custom colors on the knobs, custom colors on the ranges. As you can see, there's a little red range right here in the corner, and all kinds of things. They have a really cool build-your-own configurator on their website, and it's really awesome. Prices are going to go up anywhere from as little as 3% to as high as 10% in some cases. I'll put some details in the description below so you can explore that a little bit more. There's even a few things where the price is going to go down, but more things are going to go up than go down. But that is how you can tell a good manufacturer from a not as good manufacturer. If a manufacturer just comes out and says, well, folks, this year we're just increasing price by 2% on everything. They're just making money to make money, and they're not necessarily taking into account the value of their product, the marketplace, and really the value of the goods that are going into their product. A manufacturer that is higher end or more responsible, they are going to actually go into their product and say, look, stainless steel has gone up by this much, but the cast iron that we use on our grates has gone down, but the cost on our blowers on our hoods has gone up, but the cost on this other stuff has gone down. And they will take an overall adjustment based on all of that information. They're not going to, yeah, look at that, Remodel media colors. They call that rose. And we go to greens or we go to blues. And it's about as close as we're going to get to the Remodel Media logo, but that's okay. I'll bet you we can even do custom colors even beyond that. So, anywho, back to the task at hand. So the second, that's the second headline. The third headline that we have is going to be also coming out of the East Coast. State of Pennsylvania has released restrictions on certain manufacturers, including our friends over at Roburn. You may remember a couple of episodes back, I called out Roburn as a made in America product, one that you can definitely count on and get all prices in. And so you can do mirrors, sconces, medicine cabinets, things like that from Roburn. I'll put a link up here on the replay so you can jump back to, I think it's episode 4, and check out top 6 made in USA products. Now, for the first time in the company's history that I'm aware of, Roburn is doing drop shipping. So that has never happened before, at least to my recollection. They've been very vehemently against drop shipping product, but to make things a little bit easier, it looks like, according to the memo that I got, they are going to start shipping, and they'll be picking up some of the shipping costs as well. So that's good. So that leads me to the headline that I was made aware of just a few hours ago. Kohler, their Choreograph shower walls. Kohler Choreograph shower walls are on a major back order. Now, some of you may remember an episode a little over a month ago when COVID-19 first started to become a thing. I made some predictions and told some cautionary tales, and that it sounds like some of that's starting to happen. Not super happy about it. I'd rather I had been wrong, but irrespective of that, the reality is, it is what it is. So, Kohler Choreograph, I'll share my screen with you again here, is a product. It is their composite stone shower walls. Very dense, very heavy duty, very slim. So they'll fit a lot of different installations, and very interesting colors and concepts. However, Kohler is not accepting any new back orders for any of this product, because if it's not already in stock, it's going to have a 6 to 9 month lead time. Now, you'll remember in that video I was referencing where I made some of those predictions on COVID-19, I mentioned Kohler again. Back in 2008 or so, I called Kohler, back when the economy crashed last time, I called Kohler on a particular vanity. And the customer saw this vanity, they liked it from Kohler, and they said, well, hey, how much is that vanity? Call Kohler up. And the very helpful customer service rep said, oh, well, that vanity has a 60-month lead time. I said, okay, thank you very much. And I hung up the phone and I turned to the customer and I said, that has a 60-month, wait a minute, 60 months, that's 5 years. So I was used to hearing 30 days or 60 days or 4 weeks or, things like that. And that's how I had heard it. And let me call them back. Maybe I misheard something. 60 months is a long time for a vanity, obviously. I can make it myself in less than 60 months, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I called Kohler back, and I got the same customer service rep on the phone. And she said to me, yeah, I thought about that after we spoke. And basically, she did some research for me. She got back to me. And as it turns out, that the maker of the wood for that vanity had gone out of business. The company that was supplying Kohler with the wood to make the vanity had gone out of business. And Kohler hadn't gotten around to discontinuing it yet. I believe they finally did discontinue that particular vanity. But at the end of the day, that's what was going on back then. And it seems like there's something similar going on with the choreograph line today. Whether anybody has gone out of business or not, I don't know. But clearly, Kohler is having some sort of supply chain issue, and it's not unexpected. At least not from my end. I completely expected this with many more manufacturers, and I honestly believe that many more manufacturers are going to have this happen in greater quantities as we move forward, especially products that are not manufactured right here in the United States. And even products that are manufactured in the United States but are manufactured by products that are using supplies from other countries, because we live in a global economy and we're all interconnected whether we want to be or not. And whether it's an import from Italy or an import from China, irrelevant at this point, because we're all being affected by the same thing. So that's something to be aware of as a consumer, where your product's coming from. Could there be a back order? Have a plan B. In this case, the customer that I had that was looking for these choreograph shower walls, I actually encouraged them to take a look at a company called Swan Stone. Swan Stone is a really good company, and they have a really high-end product, especially when you look at their shower walls, specifically their Swan Stone product. It's a solid surface product, very similar and along the same lines as choreograph, but tends to be available in 4 to 6 weeks right now, and still has lots of different color combinations that you can use, and even has some tile patterns to them and things like that. They don't have as many of the stone-like qualities as the Kohler Choreograph series, so they are different. They're not the same thing, but I would highly, highly recommend anybody who is considering purchasing the Kohler Choreograph and finds themselves in the same situation my customer did, where the product just won't be available anytime soon for the foreseeable future, at least not this year. Consider the Swan Stone. We did the Swan Stone shower in my mother's shower before she moved. She wanted to put in a nice, not super expensive, but nice, but a higher end material, something better than plastic. And this definitely fits the bill. It's a solid surface, very heavy duty. Actually, a funny story. When the product came and I got a small U-Haul trailer and I towed it up to my parents' house. My parents have this long, steep driveway, and my mother had purchased a shower floor and 3 walls and a little soap dish. Now, I lifted the soap dish that thing felt like a brick. That's how heavy this stuff is. But my son and I, who was 15 at the time, we went to go lift these pieces and bring them up the driveway because I couldn't turn around in that driveway with the trailer. I wasn't even going to try. Just not a good idea. So he and I lifted the shower base. I knew how heavy it was going to be. He did not. And I heard this very audible ooh off of that came from the other side when he lifted the shower base, just the shower base, not the walls or anything. And he said, I didn't expect a plastic shower base to be this heavy. I said, that's because it's not plastic. It's incredibly heavy, and it's incredibly strong, incredibly dense. The walls were so heavy that I had to unbox the walls that came in a kit. I had to unbox them and carry them up separately. And the final wall, the big back wall, took 3 of us, my dad, myself, and my son. And by the end, we were all just, that we did not want to repeat that experience. But it's a heavy duty product, and Kohler Choreograph is the same, but with the supply chain issues, if you need a good alternate, Swan Stone is a good way to go to. So that is it for the top COVID-19 headlines as of right now. So right now we're going to take a little wine break, courtesy of Decor. They're not a sponsor. They just gave me some free wine, and I thought that was pretty cool. I got to attend their grand opening right before everything shut down. They opened up a brand new showroom here in Southern California. And so one of the parting gifts for attending was a free bottle of wine. I ended up with 2. I brought my wife. She needed one too. Anyway, this is a Decor Sauvignon Blanc. This would probably make Gary V cringe. 2018 Sauvignon Blanc Lodi Appellation. I don't know how to say that. Certified green. Sustainable wine growing. Good. Estate grown, produced, and bottled by Peltier Winery and Vineyards, Acampo, California. So if that's any good, let me know. I know, like most quality wines, it has a twist off top, so that's your that's your first indicator right there. So cheers. So remember, if you're having some fun, hit the like button. Leave some comments down below if you have any questions for me, anything I can answer in the meantime. Let's see. So right now I want to get into a question that a client left on one of my, that a viewer left on one of my previous episodes, one of my original episodes way back when, probably about a year ago. And it's on this video right here. What are the best countertops of 2019? And in this episode, I went into some details on granite, quartz, quartzite, marble, and some others. But I was really absent on the subject of porcelain countertops. And so this particular viewer goes by the username Arminda, 30 Arminda, asked, what do you think about just porcelain? And what do you think about just porcelain countertops? And so I did do some research, and I figured out. So I'll play a little clip from the video here just so you can get a sense for what we're talking about here.
The different materials
in the natural stone category can actually be ranked by hardness, with one of the most dense, hardest materials being a quartzite, a natural quartz that gets mined straight out of the ground, next being granite, next being materials like marble and maybe limestone, and followed up by softer stones like soapstone and things like that. Any of these stones can be sealed, but just know that a natural stone product comes with a certain degree of maintenance if you want it to look nice now and 10 years from now. Probably the only exception to that I'm aware of at this time is a material called Sensa granite. Now, you heard me talk about sill granite materials in the kitchen sinks. These are composite stone materials. That's not what I'm talking about today. Cosentino, the parent company of Silestone and Decton, has a material called Sensa granite. Sensa granite is essentially, it's just granite that's been mined out of the ground just like any other granite is. But it's treated and it's sealed and it's got a 10-year warranty against any sorts of stains or anything like that. If you want the natural beauty that goes along with getting a granite countertop or a natural stone countertop, that unpredictable nature of the highs and lows in the material, and you want something that is fairly... So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to where I talk a little bit about Decton. Right here. You remember I mentioned them? They're the parent company of Silestone. They have a material called Decton. Decton is a really interesting material. Now, it is a quartz-based material, but instead of being just mixed with a resin the way Silestone and some others are, they are actually mixed with a porcelain material. That porcelain makes this material very dense, very, very durable, and very resistant to ultraviolet light, which a lot of man-made countertops are not. Something to be considered when you're doing an outdoor kitchen. I've seen this material installed in a commercial kitchen, and the chefs, when they were doing their demonstrations, would actually take great pleasure in making creme brulee and accidentally hitting the countertop with the blowtorch just to freak people out who were watching, because that's how durable this thing was. These same chefs actually had to start using cutting boards because their knives were getting so dull. That's how tough this stuff is. So when you're building an outdoor kitchen, consider Decton. So that's one particular manufacturer of countertops that uses a porcelain composite, but not necessarily a solid porcelain countertop. And I wanted to make sure I made that distinction. Now, what this viewer is asking about is solid porcelain countertops. Now, solid porcelain countertops are very new for us in the US market. Not super new for other countries, but definitely new for us in the US market. It has not been done a lot, but it absolutely is a thing, and it absolutely is something you should be aware of. Cost-wise, they're a little higher than your typical, like a quartz or granite. And I go into more detail on how to price a countertop in a previous episode of Quick Tip Tuesday, which on the replay I will link that, let's see, up there. Yeah, I'll go ahead and link that up there. So, but yeah, so with porcelain countertops, really awesome because you can get some really unique colors out of it. You can get some really interesting designs, but you're very limited in some of those designs. There's not a lot of them out there. So keep that in mind. Also, porcelain can chip, it can crack, not as easily usually as a quartz can, man-made quartz. I want to make sure I'm being very specific. because there are natural quartzes that get mined out of the ground. Those are usually called quartzite, and that's a natural stone. I'm talking about a man-made quartz, something like a Silestone, Caesar stone, Titan quartz, Euro stone. There's 1,001 different of them, but usually when people are talking about quartz countertops, that's what they're talking about, is a man-made quartz. So yes, a porcelain countertop can chip, not as easily, depending on how high it's baked, but usually they're baked to a higher degree than cast iron, so you're usually okay. But fewer color options, but they're coming along. The biggest thing with any new product like that is make sure whoever's installing it knows what they're doing, because this isn't granite, this isn't Silestone or Caesar stone. This doesn't fabricate like any, well, I won't say any, but this doesn't fabricate like every material your contractor has ever seen. It is a different fabrication process. There's different certifications he has to go through, different blade tips that he has to use to do the cutting, and there's all kinds of things. It's very similar to the way that Decton is. So I suppose if he knows how to do Decton, he probably will know how to do a porcelain as well. But yeah, those would be some of my tips or tricks when selecting a porcelain countertop. So let's see, what else? So at this point, I'm open for Q&A for the next few minutes. If nobody has any questions, we can end this session a little bit early. But yeah, let me know down below if you have any questions, and we can go from there. All right, I'm not seeing any activity in the chat, so we'll probably end this a little bit early. But if you're catching this on the replay, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have in the comments down below if you have any questions for me, if there's anything I can do for you. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.